For staying on the program. Imagine you are 58 years, just as Ghana is today. What would be going through your mind with 2 years to retirement? That is the scenario we set for some 12-year-olds at the St. Paul's Lutheran School in Kanda. Take a look at this.
How I'll survive without any income, how my children will be, how I'm thinking about a lot of things, how I'll be able to live on my own without getting any source of income, what I'll be able to do if I can't survive.
Okay, because obviously at 58 you'll be nearing retirement, so I can understand. Abina, what will be going through your mind at 58?
Well, I'll be thinking of whether my children will be in good hands, how secure my family will be, and what I will do if I have no income, how I'll be able to survive.
Okay. All right, let's get your take.
Okay, obviously, like you said, I'll be thinking of retirement, and I'll be reflecting on my life. What have I done? Maybe have I impacted into someone else's life? What good have I done? Maybe to my nation or my community or something like this. And maybe if I pass away, will I be remembered as a good person or as a bad person?
But our nation is 58. Do you think that the questions that you're asking, the state is asking the same of itself? Herbert, do you think Ghana is asking all these questions on your behalf because you're a child of Ghana?
I don't really think so.
You don't think
they
so?
They were asking these questions. All these stories of people being defrauded, of all these stories of people being raped and all that. I'm not sure it would be there, or the security forces will be alert.
Okay, so that's what you think?
Yes.
Abina, do you think that the state is asking itself the sort of questions that you would if you were 58?
No, I don't think so, because there are some children on the streets and they are walking about, they have nothing to do, they have no food, and they are poor, they have nothing, and the state doesn't provide the basic needs that they need for them to survive. And if they do that, the children of Ghana will be able to have the necessary education to become future leaders of our country.
What do you think? If you think the state is thinking about the things that you're thinking about?
I think they are thinking about some of them, but they are not thinking about the major ones. Because as Abna said, if the lights are out and we will not be able to study, and obviously we are the future leaders, so if we don't have knowledge about any issue or matters that concern us as Ghanaians, we'll not be able to rule the nation properly. So I think that they are just thinking about the political part with campaigning and things, but they're not thinking of us, we the children, and what we'll do in the future.
So what do you want to see? After this conversation and after we've turned 58, what do you want to see?
Well, I want to see an improvement about the doomsday problem. And I also want to see more people on the streets, because now it's not just old women and men that are selling on the streets, but young girls and boys are also found on the streets.
But how about after this conversation, after 58, just think about if the president heard you say the things that you're saying, how do you think he can solve it?
First of all, this doomsday problem must be addressed. Because seriously, it's affecting us.
The president gave us a few things that he was working on when he gave the State of the Nation address.
The problem is that he said these same things in 2012, and short term is supposed to be for at least 1 year, 2 years. He said short term in 2012. Still, he's repeating the same thing now.
Let's now cross over to the regions and find out from our correspondents how residents participated in the 58th Independence celebrations. We'll start off from the Black Star Square, where hundreds gathered for the celebration. Nia Kofi Smatabe is our man on the ground. Hello, Ni. Hello, Ni.
Hello, Kemini.
So the president has made his speech and got out of the Black Star Square. What's happening there now?
Sorry, community can come again. There's still some.
I'm asking what's happening now at the Independence Square.
If I guess you're asking what happened.
No, what is happening now?
What is happening now? Okay. The parade. The parade is over, and so the contingents have marched off the parade grounds. Sorry if I'm trying to be a little too known, because I've been following parades for a very long time. So bear with me. I'll use a few of the terms for a while. The contingents are off the parade grounds now. What is happening at the Black Star Square right now? People are just posing, taking photographs. Some are taking photographs with the rest of the military and security personnel who are yet to leave the place. But what I do know is that the contingent, that is school children and the security services, they have marched off from the parade ground straight to the forecourt of the State House, where they're going to have refreshments. But right now, it's lots of children around the Independence Square, lots of a few adults also around, some taking pictures, some taking selfies on their own. There's others also who are posing for pictures by some photographers who claim to be doing instant photography and all. So really, that's what's happening right now.
Shed some light on traffic and security in that area.
Well, traffic is terrible right now in front of the Black Star Square or Independence Square. One of our drivers actually tells me he's just around the corner getting here, but still he hasn't been able to enter, and I guess that should probably paint a better picture of the traffic for you outside. It's slowing at some ends, but because there are buses coming in to pick some of the contingents who are left, and cars also going out. So it's a bit congested in front of the Independence Square proper, but around the stadium and towards the zoo, it's much better. Security-wise, the place is almost getting empty, so I don't see much of a security presence apart from those who are on the parade grounds. But in the stands, not really much of a security going around. But it's also just people who are relaxing, really. So I don't think they need that much. They need to worry so much about security.
From the grounds, what were people's reactions to the president's speech?
Well, interestingly, I was in the stands, and it was a bit difficult to hear the president. And it was difficult hearing the president because a lot of people were talking. I mean, everybody was just talking. People were going up and down. And look at it, they weren't really paying attention to the president. And so it was hard for me, try as I did, and it was hard for me also to be able to follow what the president said. Unfortunately, there was a guy I spoke to earlier during our broadcast who said he was interested in hearing what Mr. Mahama had to say, particularly about the load shedding or the energy crisis. But by the time the president's speech was over, I didn't see him around. I wanted to ask him if he was able to hear the president probably better than I did, and whether he felt the president's address was up to his expectations or not, but I couldn't see him. And so, at least from where I stood, it didn't look like the public really paid much attention to what the president had to say. I mean, they were interested in the parade. They came for the parade. It was beautiful, they say. They loved it. And when President Mahama was speaking, not a lot of them paid attention. But when he was leaving, so surprisingly, they all started waving at him. And when his vice president was leaving as well, they did same, and they cheered former President Rawlings the loudest when he was also leaving the parade ground.
Indeed. Thank you very much, Ni, for the updates. Nia Kofi Smartabe joined us from the Black Star Square. In the Upper West region, we are joined by Rafiq Salam. Rafiq.
Hello, Kamini.
Tell us what's happening in the Upper West region as far as the celebration is concerned.
The parade just actually ended about 2 hours ago at the Nasiri Ubami, the second park, and I can report to you that it was full to the rafters. Many people from all walks of life were there. A contingent of security men comprising the Ghana Fire Service, the Ghana Police Service, the Prison Service, the Customs Excise and Preventive Service, and the Immigration Service were there. About 150 of them took part in the march past, and also talking about basic senior high schools and special schools. We have basic schools about 20 of them, they were there, 18 junior high schools, 8 senior high schools, and 3 special schools. When we talk about 3 special schools, we are talking about the school for the blind, and also the school for the deaf, and then also the Don Bosco schools, special schools. They took part in the March Past. And then also, when you lump all these students or pupils together, you get about 1,617 students taking part in the March Past. And also, there were also people from the voluntary services organization, and then also they were laced with members of political parties, and notable among them were the NDC and then the APP, and then the APP, they took part in the March Past in the Wa municipality. And so the March Past went on well, and then after that, the Upper West Regional Minister, Ambassador Amin Demani, delivered his speech.
What was the message?
The message that he delivered was, he talked about oneness. He said that the forefathers of this country struggled hard to get independence for this current generation. So it's up to this current generation not to do anything to derail the successes that they have took over the period. And also, he also talked about the seeming division that's in the country, talking about religion, and then also political differences in the country. And then he says that that isn't the best for this.
Rafiq, tell us, how do the people of the Upper West region feel about Ghana's 58-year journey?
The people here are really happy. Though the people that I spoke to, they told me that there are challenges after 58 years of independence, but they're still saying that it is better to be independent than somebody, your affairs in the hands of somebody. And so they think that they are relieved, and I think that they think that Ghana is free forever, as Nkwamu said.
Thank you very much, Rafiq, for that. We can now go to the Upper East region, where Albert Sori is standing by for us. Hello, Albert. Very well. Would return to the regions in a bit. But President John Dramani Mahama has, in his 58th Independence Day speech, called for unity and tolerance. Addressing the nation, he called for a change in the way and manner things are done. This year's celebration is on the theme, achieving transformation through national unity.
Last year, we were all drenched by a sudden thunderstorm during this same independence celebration at this same venue, the Black Star Square. It was highly unusual to have a thunderstorm of that magnitude at this time of the year. And yet, because of the phenomena of climate change, this year we have already had 2 thunderstorms even earlier in the month of February. Happily, today our meteorological services have assured us that our celebration is not likely to be marred by a rainstorm. It is not only our climate that is changing, our demographics are changing, our politics is changing. We must therefore change our attitudes and our ways of doing things. I call for a rejuvenation of our national psyche from one that focuses on fleeting challenges and discounts successes chalked over the years to one that embraces greater and sustained efforts towards national transformation. Party politics is disadvantageous if all it leaves in its wake is intractable differences and a lack of consensus on any and every national subject. Belonging to different political organizations is no reason why we cannot work together to achieve solutions to our common challenges. I wish to declare emphatically that for me, no amount of political power is worth plunging this country into partisan, ethnic, or religious strife. I pledge to continue to do all in my power to promote an atmosphere of political rapprochement in order to diffuse any tensions that may threaten our national well-being, and I expect that all political leaders in this country will do the same. And that is why I've recently been worried about a few events that have affected the atmosphere of ethnic and religious peace that we have enjoyed. I'm sure that our society has the absorbers to withstand these shocks, and that is why my heart was gladdened when I noticed the unanimity exhibited in the recent demonstration held in support of equal citizenship. The participation of various personalities in this demonstration indicates that on both sides of the political divide, we are resolved not to allow ourselves to be divided by ethnic or regional sentiments. I'm absolutely encouraged by this show of solidarity by our young politicians on the issue of national unity. Each and every one of us, in our ethnic and cultural diversity, contributes in a unique way to make our nation great and strong. Our diversity must therefore, as I said in the State of the Nation address, be a source of strength and not a weakness. Our diversity should be harnessed and forged into a potent weapon for the realization of our national interests. They should not provide the grounds for tearing ourselves apart.
We'll stay on the subject of the celebration of the 58th independence anniversary of Ghana. My colleague Kwabena Chenche Hene Boateng has been speaking with 2016 flag bearer for the new Patriotic Party, Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo. He's joining me over the telephone with some detail of their conversation. Hello, Kwabena.
Hello, Kamini.
What has Nanado been telling you?
Well, essentially, Nanado has, he first and foremost congratulated the country, and he's asserted that the country has indeed come a long way. Aside the ups and downs, the country has managed to survive, but even with that, he still believes the country could have been much further ahead, could have gone much further ahead, but for some aspects of leadership, that hasn't really helped the country. Well, he actually blames a lot of it on mismanagement. But we can now take a listen to Nana Adudankwa Akufo-Addo.
Indeed.
How far do you think we've come as a country?
We've come some way. We could have gone further. But the whole idea is that we work together, spirit of development, especially doing the right things. I think that's what will really take us further. The words are all very nice, but if they're not backed by the necessary actions and policies, they become just words. And we've reached a stage in our history when it is the actions and the policies that matter.
The President said, the statement the President delivered, what stood out for you?
It's some things that are fairly normal. The need for us to work together to develop our country. But what matters, I think, is not so much the words, but the actions and the policies that will follow the words. I think that is what will tell us whether they were just mere words or that they were words that were backed by a concrete program for development. And that's what our people are looking to see. That's all of us are hoping to see.
Do you think the situation could have been any different?
Much different. It could have been much better than what it has been. But it's part of the process of national development, that we have our ups and downs. There's no doubt that we are in a period of down. We're now going to have to work together to push our country back on the path of development and prosperity.
On the call to political leaders to join in and bring down religious and ethnic tensions, what do you have to say?
Well, I'm encouraged by it. That's part of our responsibilities as leaders. So I'm encouraged by it.
What would it take for the country to get back on track, to get to
correct policies, properly implemented, eliminating corruption and waste, bringing our country back to macroeconomic stability, forming the correct set of policies that will bring back our country on the path of growth and expansion and development. That's not where we are now, and that's where we ought to go and should. We're a country of enormous potential. Next door to us, the country with 6 or 7 million people less than us are having unprecedented economic prosperity and boom. And we are in a period of decline and recession. It tells you that there's a lot of work that we have to do, especially the correct kind of things that we do. Cut out waste, cut out profligacy, cut out corruption, bring back stability to the management of our economy, open up our economy again for investment and growth.
Thank you very much. Look.
Well, now there's more to come here on Joy News today. Don't go away. I'm glad you could stay on the program. Now, minority leader in Parliament, Osaiche Mensah-Bonsu, is asking for greater independence for the Ghana Broadcasting Corporation. He was delivering the first in a series of lectures to mark the 80th anniversary of the public broadcast service. Mensah-Bonsu said political interference by successive governments has stunted the growth of GBC.
In many countries, publicly funded broadcasters are still achieving respectable audience share, and I believe the same holds true in Ghana. In most countries in Eastern Europe and Africa, including our dear Ghana, state broadcasters are funded through a mix of advertising and public finance, either through a license fee or directly from the government. In most parts of the Western world, public service broadcasting is funded by a receiving fee by every household with no commercial advertising and the maintenance of a position of strict political impartiality. And talking about political neutrality, is it not truthful that sometimes political interference intrudes into the structure and therefore the direction of GBC and thereby cut off a section of your catchment zone?
He also called for an increase in the license fee, which is meant to help fund the operations of the state broadcaster.
The license fee may not allow public service broadcasters to do everything they wish to do to participate in the digital revolution, but at least this income is usually sufficiently predictable, and that is if the rate itself responds to practical realities to allow them to concentrate on programming rather than the pursuit of profit. The same cannot be said for those broadcasters with public service obligations who are predominantly or more dependent on advertising income. In Ghana, the fee charge is very low. I understand it's about 30 pesos. And what's the relevance of 30 pesos? 30 pesos a year. The mode of collection itself is not cost efficient. It is expensive to collect. The fee has never witnessed any increase. It is important that a more pragmatic, efficient, and effective mechanism is embarked on to ensure the collection of a pragmatic prescribed fee. It is also important that the fee be increased to reflect the current competitive environment in relation to commercialization.
The family of a man who was shot and killed by a joint military police task force is demanding compensation for his death. 40-year-old Kweku Opong, who had only one hand, was reportedly gunned down in front of other family members, including his mother. The task force reportedly chased him to his house on suspicion that he had kidnapped a lady. His mother told Joy News that his death had devastated the family.
I knelt and told them that the man they were after was my son, but they ignored my plea and kicked me around. The two soldiers punched and kicked me until I became I don't understand their actions because I know if someone commits a crime and you arrest the person, you must first question the person but not kill him. How can 5 policemen and a soldier struggle with a physically challenged man? The allegation they are leveling against my son that he's a criminal is not true. The truth must come out. I have really lost a treasure, so I'm demanding compensation. My son left behind a child, and I need money to cater for him.
The minority spokesman on foreign affairs is demanding immediate action against heads of diplomatic missions abroad who are believed to have embezzled large sums of money. The allegations are contained in the latest Auditor General's report, which highlights malfeasance at missions in places like Berlin and Tehran. The minority spokesman on foreign affairs, Yabuama, says the foreign ministry must urgently act on this report.
The buck stops on the necks of the foreign minister to take the necessary steps as directed by the Auditor General in the report to ensure that monies due to the state are recovered fully. And I want to believe that the foreign minister has read the report and is taking the necessary steps. It's an issue of leadership. You see, you read about 13,000. When the person is not prosecuted, the person is emboldened to go ahead and steal hundreds of thousands. Then who suffers? So I want the ministry or the Minister for Foreign Affairs to look at the report critically and do the needful as Ghanaians are watching. The Speaker, when this report was laid, directed leadership in compliance with Article 1876 of the Constitution that Parliament shall debate the report of the Auditor General and, where necessary, in the public interest. The public has an interest in all the happenings in our ministry, departments and agencies with regards to the use of public funds. Committee to deal with any matters arising out of it. This committee, or every committee of Parliament, has the powers of the High Court. And I believe when the committee is composed as directed by the Right Honourable Speaker, Parliament will start looking at some of these wrongs that have been reported and the necessary steps taken.
Meanwhile, the Auditor General's report has also recommended that legal action be taken against some of the mission heads. As part of the Independence Anniversary celebrations, a select group of some of the nation's most brilliant children are given special awards for outstanding performances in the basic education certificates examinations. The annual President's Awards recognizes achievement and encourages the recipients to stay on the path of success. Joy News interviewed some of this year's winners and asked what the awards meant to them.
Aims at becoming a medical doctor.
It's the kind of stuff made in dreams. It became reality for 20 first-year students of various senior high schools across the country. 20-year-old Beauty is the oldest of the group.
The oldest amongst them?
Yes, please, I am.
Does that make you feel?
Somehow I feel bad, but then I think it's all well because it's not about the age, but it's about what you choose to make yourself. Being one amongst 7 children, the only person being educated, and then God really lifted me here to this far, I would say it is my most privilege. God has really made me who I am today. Okay. Education is the key to success. Okay. Humble yourself.
The 20 students received the President's Independence Day Award.
Beauty, does this award make any difference to you?
Very well. It has made me feel more honored, and to say it has added value to my life, because in my school, to say my former school, wherever I go, it's beauty all over. And I think when I go back to school, people who look down upon me now will say, well, shall at least attain some level of respect.
Before we had to get to this place, we had to go through a series of interviews, and believe me, I was very, very afraid because I knew I wasn't going to qualify. That was the perception first. But after I qualified for the district, I knew I could do it.
It has motivated me. I've always worked towards it, and today, I must say, I'm highly delighted.
I feel very excited. Though at first I was shivering, but I felt normal because he's also a person like me, just that he's a higher dignitary. So I just saw him as one of my own fathers, and I approached him with much confidence.
I've been raised to a status because now I was somebody nowhere. I competed with so many people. Definitely some people might be better than me, but God has granted me the blessing. He has blessed me to this level. Now I have things I've been Like, I've made a gap, so it will be difficult for them to bridge the gap now.
This award is only going to motivate me to achieve greater heights.
And for the first time, the recipients were given tablet computers as part of their prize package.
Actually, I use it to communicate with. I use it for so many things. To read ahead, but at times I can acquire more information on the internet, to communicate so that information that I acquire, I can disseminate it to my friends.
This batch of recipients is also the first to be mentored by alumni of the award.
Well, our top stories. Ghana marks 58 years of independence, with President Mahama calling for unity and tolerance. Family of a man shot and killed by a military and police task force demand compensation for his death. Minority spokesman on foreign affairs demand immediate action against heads of diplomatic missions abroad who are alleged to have embezzled large sums of money. Still to come here, some business, don't go away. Secretary General of the Trades Union Congress, Kofi Asamoah, has bemoaned the lack of economic independence after Ghana's 58 years of freedom from the colonial masters. He says the numerous economic challenges tell there is much to be done as a nation, and hence the independence celebrations should afford the country the opportunity to reflect and provide appropriate and lasting solutions to the problems going forward.
If we looked at from the beginning of our independence up to today, the levels of deterioration, we can agree that in some levels we have gained something, but there's much to be done. Our leaders over the years have never had the foresight to ensure that our country is put on a level of development that can go at pace over our years of independence. We have 58 years. We still think that we have a lot more to do. We have deficits in employment, deficits in social protection, deficits in the lifestyle of the people, even in the area of energy, for instance. So as we celebrate Ghana's independence, I think it should draw our attention to the deficits we've had over the years, the fact that we have not all done much, both politically, and everybody should come to the realization is that, to the effect that there is much to be done, and it should guide us into the future to ensure that we provide appropriate solutions to the numerous problems with us. Our leaders should be visionary enough to be able to provide the kind of leadership that can take us into the future.
The Africa Center for Energy Policy has described the 250 megawatts power plant government is securing from Dubai as the worst deal. Executive Director of ASAP, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, told Joy News the move is crisis procurement and will not give Ghana value for money. He says Ghana will pay $700 million over a 5-year period before ownership is granted to it, while it could be bought outright at $220 million.
Emergency power budgets around the world. We should have even done open and competitive bidding, so that emergency power, owners who want to supply, they can come and compete, and we select the one that will give us favorable terms. There are other people who also want to line up their pocket, so they ambush the leader. Okay, and so this ambush procurement or crisis procurement that we do will not give us value for money, and that is what we are seeing. For instance, the Dubai plants we are bringing, 250 megawatt, will be the worst ever project we will bring on in terms of cost and lack of value for money. We are supposed to pay $120 million every year for the lease of the plant for 5 years, $16 million every year for maintenance and operation. And that gives you about $136 million a year. And so for 5 years during which it will be leased to us, we will pay a total of about $700 million before the ownership is transferred to us. Yet if you go to buy it outright, it will cost you $220 million to buy it. So why will Ghana go on a lease arrangement for 5 years before ownership if it will take some $100 million for us, instead of going to buy them outright for 220? Some people have argued that government may not have all the money at a go. But if you cannot have, 220 million to buy the 10 units that they are bringing, they are containerized units, each 25 megawatt, and that the 10 units give us the 250 megawatt. If you cannot have 222 million to go and buy, yet you have 136 million to pay for 1 year, that could have fetched you about 6 of the units. And so in 2 years, the money we will use to pay for the lease would have given us more than 10 units.
Thanks for staying on the program. Happy Independence, Baba.
Okay.
Why okay?
You know my views already. I really don't know what we are celebrating. So, and I told Mama V this morning that I just wished I could denounce my citizenship, because it feels so bad being a Ghanaian now.
That's terrible. That's how bad it is for you.
It's actually more terrible and worse than I'm saying.
But is the sports fraternity feeling that heat?
Well, if you have a Premier League that's over 40 years and you have patronage to the various stadia deteriorating over the period, I think, yes, you do. If you have a Black Stars team that is yet to win a World Cup trophy after spending millions and millions of dollars, it is a problem.
I'm going to stop her from getting into trouble, and we'll do the sports news after this.
Right. The first Capital Plus Premier League enters Week 10 this weekend with 8 matches across all league centres. Here is what to expect. United will be on the hunt for redemption as they face life under new head coach Mohamed Gago and interim management team. They are rock bottom of the Premier League log, having won just 2 of their 9 games this season. The BA side is at home to a rather laid-back Wa All Stars, who have won just 3 points this season. Aduana Stars follow Ash Gold in second place with a 6-point gap between them. Coincidentally, the two sides lock horns at the Ajimanbedu Park in Doma. Aduana will be on red alert for a win to bridge the point gap. Liberty Professionals have been giving a boost as they face Bichim United at the Dansuman Karindov Park, receiving a donation of energy-boosting products from Evans Medical PLC of Nigeria. The scientific soccer lads will ride on the back of the recent run of results. Felix Abuache is assistant coach of Liberty Professionals.
I think we have a good run of results. In the last 2 matches, we beat Brekum Chelsea, and we went to Mediama Takwa and we were able to get a point. I believe we're on the right course, despite the difficulties we are going through. But hopefully we can going to capitalize on those good results and make sure that our next game we try to improve upon it. But I think the boys are doing very well. We are playing some excellent football, and hopefully we'll do well on Sunday.
You mentioned difficulties. Can you share some of them with us?
Yeah, sometimes in the game we find it very difficult to score more goals. We create a lot of chances, and at the moment, 4 strikers are finding it very difficult to put the ball in the net. But we've worked on it, and hopefully it will appear on Sunday game, and hopefully they will start scoring.
Edibiasi FC has relegation staring them in the face, lying 14th on the league log. They take on Brekum Chelsea, who are buoyed on by their zeal to break into the top 4. That match will be honored in Bekwai. Hearts of Lions stand a chance to topple over Aduana Stars for the 2nd place on the table. The Pando side are at home to Wafa, who have not lost in their last 5 consecutive matches, with their worst being a 1-1 draw away to Bichim United. Asante Kotoko is still without a substantive head coach and will be at home to Mediama SC. The Porcupine Warriors are just a place above the relegation zone and desperately need to find a win at their favourite Babayara Stadium. Hearts of Oak will travel to the Esipon Stadium to face Sekendi Hazakes, while the local derby between Great Olympics and Inter Allies at the Accra Sports Stadium wrap up the weekend's Premier League action. Away from the Ghana League, the national beach soccer team, Black Sharks, will play their Nigerian opponent in some, In some 6 minutes from now, in their opening game at the 2015 Powerhouse Elite Championship in Durban, South Africa. The second batch of players and officials of the Black Sharks are expected to join 9 others who left the shores of Ghana on Wednesday night. Now, despite the Sports Ministry's approval of an amount of $21,362 for the team, the Beach Soccer Association was forced to foot the bill for tickets. Head coach Theophilus Ama says his boys are still focused on hoping to avenge their Copa Lagos defeats to Nigeria. Right, so I hope to see you at one of the 8 venues for this weekend's round of matches in the First Capital Plus Premier League. But that will do it for sports this afternoon. My name is Baba Tando. Have a good afternoon.
You're watching News Today. A quick look again at our top stories. Ghana marks 58 years of independence, with President Mahama calling for unity and tolerance. Family of a man shot and killed by a military police task force demand compensation for his death. Minority spokesman on foreign affairs demand immediate action against heads of diplomatic missions abroad who are alleged to have embezzled large sums of money. Find more news on myjoyonline.com. I'm grateful for your company here. Happy independence to you here in Ghana. My name is Kimini Emmanuel.